Deep within the dark recesses of the human mind lie primal urges, forces so ancient, so powerful, that they defy reason and morality. What happens when these urges erupt, tearing through the thin veneer of civilization? What if the monsters we fear are not lurking in the shadows, but within ourselves? Today we unravel the terrifying connection between the nightmarish world of Francisco Goya's Saturn, Devouring His Son, and the chilling character of Patrick Bateman from American Psycho. Two worlds separated by centuries, yet bound by a common thread of madness, violence, and the darkness that lies within us all. Prepare yourself for a journey into the heart of human monstrosity. Are you ready to confront the beasts within? Welcome to Art Unveiled, where we delve deep into the world of art, uncovering the hidden meanings, cultural significance, and modern-day connections of some of history's most compelling works. In this episode, we'll examine Francisco Goya's Saturn Devouring His Son, a painting that has haunted viewers for over 2 centuries, with its brutal depiction of madness and violence. We'll compare this masterpiece to Patrick Bateman, the infamous protagonist of Bret Easton Ellis's American Psycho, a character who embodies the same primal violence and psychological darkness as Goya's Saturn. Let's start with Saturn Devouring His Son, part of Francisco Goya's Black Paintings series, created between 1819 and 1823. These paintings were not commissioned. They were personal, painted directly onto the walls of Goya's home. Goya's later years were marked by illness, isolation, and disillusionment, leading to a darker, more introspective turn in his art. In this chilling work, Goya depicts the mythological figure Saturn, who, according to legend, consumed his children to prevent them from overthrowing him. Goya's Saturn is a deranged figure, consumed by paranoia and madness. His wild, bulging eyes and ferocious grip on the lifeless body of his child reflect a primal, uncontrollable urge. The painting's pitch-black background isolates Saturn in his madness, forcing viewers to confront the terrifying idea that even the most revered figures can be reduced to monsters by their inner demons. Born in 1746 in Aragon, Spain, Francisco Goya is often regarded as one of the last old masters and the first of the moderns. His career spanned several decades, including a prominent role as court painter to the Spanish crown. However, Goya's later years saw a profound shift in his work, driven by the turmoil of the Napoleonic Wars, political corruption, and his own deteriorating health. The Black Paintings series, of which Saturn Devouring His Son is a part, represents Goya's darkest period, a time of intense personal and societal unrest. The painting reflects not only Goya's personal struggles, but also a broader commentary on the destructive nature of power. Saturn's fear of being overthrown leads him to commit the ultimate act of violence, the consumption of his own flesh and blood. This act of consumption, driven by irrational fear, echoes the cyclical nature of violence and tyranny. Now let's turn our attention to Patrick Bateman, the protagonist of American Psycho. Published in 1991, the novel and its film adaptation have become infamous for their portrayal of a Wall Street yuppie who leads a double life as a brutal serial killer. Bateman's world is one of excess, superficiality, and moral decay, a world where wealth and appearance are paramount, and humanity is stripped away. Bateman, like Goya's Saturn, is driven by primal urges he cannot control. Despite his outward success, Bateman is consumed by violent impulses that manifest in horrific acts of murder and sadism. His violence, much like Saturn's, is not rational. It is driven by an inner madness, a need to exert power and control. Both Saturn and Bateman are figures of immense power, Saturn as a god and Bateman as a wealthy businessman, yet this power is their undoing. Saturn's fear of being overthrown leads him to consume his children, just as Bateman's desire to maintain control in a superficial world drives him to destroy those around him. In both cases, the violence is deeply connected to identity and the fear of losing control. Saturn loses his godly stature and becomes a beast, while Bateman loses his humanity, becoming a monster in a society that prizes image above all else. Another striking parallel is the theme of consumption. Saturn literally consumes his child, driven by fear. Bateman, on the other hand, consumes wealth, status, and lives in a desperate attempt to fill the void within. Yet no matter how much he consumes, he is never satisfied. Just as Saturn's act of consumption deepens his madness, the influence of Goya's Saturn devouring his son extends beyond its historical context, resonating with modern-day art, literature, and film. The painting's depiction of primal violence and madness has inspired countless creators to explore the darker sides of human nature. Patrick Bateman is just one modern character who embodies the monstrous aspects of Saturn. Characters like Hannibal Lecter from The Silence of the Lambs and Jack Torrance from The Shining similarly reflect the idea of individuals driven to violence by forces beyond their control. The legacy of Saturn devouring his son lies in its ability to make us confront the darkness within ourselves. It forces us to ask uncomfortable questions. What are we capable of when driven by fear, power, or madness? How thin is the line between civilization and savagery? As we've seen, Francisco Goya's Saturn devouring his son is not just a painting. It's a window into the darker aspects of the human soul, a reflection of the primal violence and madness that can lurk beneath the surface. Patrick Bateman, the monstrous protagonist of American Psycho, is a modern-day Saturn, a character whose outward success masks a terrifying descent into brutality. Both the painting and the character remind us of the fragility of our humanity and the ease with which it can be lost. They challenge us to confront the darkness within and to acknowledge the monstrous potential that exists in all of us. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the heart of human darkness. If you enjoyed this episode of Art Unveiled, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss an episode. And as always, we invite you to leave your thoughts and interpretations in the comments below. What do you see when you look at Goya's Saturn devouring his son? How do you interpret the monstrous nature of Patrick Bateman? Until next time, keep questioning, keep exploring, and keep the wonder of art alive.